I still remember the day my sister moved into her new apartment. The excitement in her voice, the way she sent me pictures of every little corner like it was her dream home. She kept saying, "It's small, but it's mine." What she didn't mention then was that mine would quietly become ours. Because that same month, her job fell apart, and the rent became my responsibility. At first, it wasn't a big deal. I loved her. She was my little sister. She'd always been the one who believed in me when no one else did. So when she called crying, saying her boss had cut her hours, I didn't hesitate. I said, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it until you get back on your feet." That was 8 months ago. 8 months of me paying her rent, her bills, and pretending everything was fine. 8 months of her promising that she'd start paying soon. But soon never came. It started bothering me quietly, the way she'd post pictures online of brunches, new clothes, new nails. I told myself, maybe she's just trying to feel normal again. But somewhere deep inside, I felt something off. See, I work hard, like painfully hard. Late shifts, tight budgets, barely sleeping some nights just to make sure I could help her out. I didn't expect anything in return, but I did expect honesty. So one evening, after another paycheck vanished into her rent, I decided to stop sending it automatically. No warnings, no explanations, just silence. That's when the truth started to show itself. A week later, she called me, cheerful as ever. "Hey, can you send the rent early this month? My landlord's being annoying again." I paused. "I can't this time," I said softly. "I've got some bills to handle myself." There was silence on the other side. Then, in a tone I'd never heard from her before, she said, "Wow, so you're just going to leave me hanging like that?" My stomach twisted. "Leave you hanging? I've been paying your rent for 8 months, Jess. 8." She scoffed. "Yeah, and I said I'd pay you back. But you haven't." "I will. You just don't trust me." Her voice cracked a little, and for a second, I almost gave in. But something in me had changed. I said, "Jess, I love you, but I can't keep doing this. You need to take responsibility for your own life." And then she hung up. Days passed. No calls, no texts. I figured she just needed space. Until Mom called out of nowhere and said, "What's going on between you and Jessica? She said you kicked her out of her apartment." My jaw dropped. "What? I didn't kick her out. I just stopped paying her rent." Mom sighed heavily. "She said you promised to help until she found something stable." I laughed bitterly. "Mom, she's been finding something stable for almost a year." Mom didn't say much after that, but I could tell she believed her version of the story, not mine. That hurt more than I expected. A few weeks went by. I didn't hear from Jess, and I tried to move on. But one night I opened Instagram, and there she was, smiling in a rooftop bar with friends, wearing a new designer jacket. Caption, "New beginnings, grateful for the real ones who stayed." I didn't even know how to react. Was she talking about me, or was she pretending I never existed? The comments were worse. People saying, "You deserve better," and "cut out toxic people." And she replied to each one with a heart emoji. I felt my chest tighten. After everything I'd done for her, I had somehow become the villain in her story. A month later, my phone buzzed again. It was Mom. "She's in trouble," she said quietly. "Her landlord finally kicked her out." I felt that wave of guilt hit again, even though I'd done nothing wrong. Mom asked, "Can she stay with you for a while?" I froze. Every part of me wanted to say no, to set the boundary I should have drawn months ago. But she was my sister. So I said yes. That night, Jess showed up with 2 suitcases and a look I couldn't read. No thank you, no I'm sorry. Just walked past me, dropped her bags, and asked, "Do you have Wi-Fi here?" I wanted to scream, but instead I bit my tongue and nodded. For days, she acted like nothing had happened. She'd sleep in late, order takeout, scroll on her phone all day. Meanwhile, I went to work and came home to her mess. One night, I came back exhausted. My dinner leftovers were gone, the living room was a wreck, and there she was, laughing on FaceTime with a friend, saying, "Yeah, I'm just staying with my brother until my new job comes through. He owes me anyway." That last line shattered me. I didn't say anything then, but something inside me broke completely that night. A few days later, she left for an interview. Except she forgot her laptop open on the couch. And that's when I saw it. Her email. A payment confirmation. She'd booked a weekend trip to Austin with her friends. The rent money I'd been sending all those months, that was where it went. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about betrayal. That night I waited for her to come home. When she walked in, I said, "Jess, we need to talk." She rolled her eyes. "If this is about the dishes again." I interrupted. "It's not. It's about the Austin trip." Her face went pale. "How do you know about that?" "I saw the email." "You went through my stuff?" I couldn't believe it. "That's your defense?" I said. "After everything I've done? That's what you care about?" She didn't answer. And that silence, that's when I realized she didn't feel guilty, not even a little. That night I told her she had a week to find somewhere else. She didn't argue. She just nodded, walked to her room, and shut the door. But I couldn't sleep because no matter how angry I was, she was still my sister. And some part of me hoped, just hoped, that she'd come out the next morning and say, "I'm sorry." But she didn't. Instead, she walked out with her suitcases and said, "Thanks for the free stay." That's when I realized something. Love doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop saving someone who doesn't want to be saved.
The morning after she left, the apartment felt empty in a strange way. Not peaceful, not quiet, just hollow. Her laughter, her mess, her constant tapping on the phone, all gone. I made my coffee, sat by the window, and stared at the empty couch. For the first time in months, it was clean. But instead of relief, I felt something heavier. Guilt. Did I go too far? Should I have given her one more chance? That thought haunted me for hours, until I noticed something lying on the table. A folded piece of paper with my name written in her handwriting. To my brother. For a moment, I didn't want to open it. My heart was pounding, but curiosity won. I unfolded the paper. It wasn't long, barely half a page, yet every word felt like a punch in the chest. "You probably think I used you. Maybe you're right. But I never asked you to love me like a child. I wanted to figure things out on my own, but you always stepped in. Every time I failed, you rescued me, and that made me stop trying. I don't hate you. I hate how small I feel when I'm around you. I'll pay you back someday, but for now, I need to disappear. Jess." I read that letter over and over again. Anger, pain. Then, something unexpected, understanding. She wasn't wrong. I had been trying to protect her so much that I never let her grow. And maybe in trying to be her savior, I'd turned her into someone who didn't believe she could save herself. Still, her words stung. That night, I sat alone at the kitchen table, the letter beside me, and I realized this wasn't just her story anymore. It was mine too. The story of someone who gave too much, learned too late, and now had to learn how to stop bleeding for people who don't want healing. Weeks passed. Life started finding its rhythm again. Work, gym, grocery runs, repeat. Every time I opened my phone, I half expected to see her post something new. But she'd gone completely off social media. No updates, no photos, nothing. Part of me was relieved. The other part, terrified. What if she was really gone? Like, gone? Then, one afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. "Hello, is this Mr. Brooks?" "Yes," I said cautiously. "This is from St. Mary's Clinic. Your sister Jessica listed you as her emergency contact." My heart stopped. Is she okay?" "She's stable now," the nurse replied. "She had an anxiety episode. She's been under a lot of stress." I didn't even think twice. I grabbed my keys and drove straight there. When I walked into that hospital room, I almost didn't recognize her. No makeup, no fake smile, just tired eyes staring at the ceiling. She turned her head slightly when she saw me. "Didn't think you'd come," she said quietly. I sat down beside her. "You're my sister, Jess. Of course I'd come." She looked away, tears pooling in her eyes. "I didn't mean to make you hate me. I never hated you. I was just hurt." There was a long silence. Then she said something I'll never forget. "I kept thinking if I acted like I didn't care, it wouldn't hurt when you stopped caring too." That hit deeper than anything she'd ever said. All this time, I thought she was being selfish, but maybe she was just scared. We talked for hours about everything. Her job hunt that went nowhere, the pressure she felt trying to live up to everyone's expectations, and how she had spent the rent money not on luxuries, but on trying to keep up appearances. She said, "I thought if I looked okay, people would think I was okay." That broke me. The next few weeks, I helped her get back on her feet, not by paying her bills this time, but by sitting with her while she applied for jobs, by listening, by letting her fail without stepping in too fast. And for the first time, she started to stand on her own. One morning, she walked into the living room holding a cup of coffee and said, "I got the job." The pride in her eyes, that was worth more than any money I'd ever sent her. Months passed. She moved into a small shared apartment, started budgeting, and finally began paying me back, bit by bit. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about what it meant. Every payment was her saying, "I'm trying." And every time I accepted it, I was saying, "I see you." A year later, I got another letter, this time in an envelope with a nice little bow. Inside a note. "Last payment. Thank you for never giving up on me, even when you should have." And attached to it, a photo of us as kids, sitting on the porch, sharing popsicles. I didn't cry right away, but when I did, it wasn't from sadness. It was from finally understanding that love doesn't mean fixing someone. It means standing beside them while they learn to fix themselves.